is a brand new show. My guest today is Jim Davis from WebDM. If you're looking for a lot of awesome tutorials and also a very awesome Patreon, go over to WebDM. So on this show, we're going to be building characters using D&D Beyond, shockingly. We know we have a lot of new people who have been joining the site, and I thought this is a good opportunity to do something I obsessively do in my free time anyways. It's actually an exercise to help me sleep, which it doesn't work at all, but I make it like a new character probably every night. I'm obsessed with making new character concepts, and so we have a new show.
Yeah, now you can't so easily. Yes. So yeah, I was gonna say, when you pitched me the show, I was like, wait a minute, are they just gonna turn on your webcam whenever you're just hanging out at home?
Super invasive. What's cool is we got a new show coming out. It's not quite a spin-off, but it's kind of a spin-off because we've got some characters from Beyond Heroes heading over there, including my character Avren, my wife's character Sophias, Freely, and also Lauren Urban is working on a character as well. And so I figured this was a good opportunity to build my character because it's hard, especially at third level. Third level is a great place to start in any new D&D campaign. Is that where you typically start, Jim?
Unless players are in for that first, second level, like we're surviving by the skin of our teeth experience. I find that third level, you got all your options. You have a bit of robust hit point pool. This is a good sweet spot to start a campaign in.
And it is almost universally where what you like about that class happens at third, right?
They're a complete character,
that's what you want. You don't want to be like, you don't want to play anything that just doesn't kind of like come online until like level 20, right? And then you're like, now I'm the character I always wanted to play.
Finally. For 2 sessions.
Not as fun. So what I'm doing with this, and I've always liked this idea, and perhaps if you've ever played Knights of the Old Republic, I love it when people lose magic. They lose their ability somehow. Doctor Strange is another good example. So we're building a version of my main character Avren, but without being formally a trickster god. Not having magic as a sorcerer, not having magic as a warlock. So what do you do? And ultimately the answer is I build myself a suit.
I
try.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, you try to replace what you had with mechanical magic. So
I like this.
So that's the character concept today. Max Denbar at this very moment is actually making artwork for that character, so we will show that off. Probably not during the show because I don't want to rush him, but probably later today.
Awesome.
So you and I are both very much in love with artificers.
Yeah, right? I really am. I was actually making one today earlier, but an alchemist, not an artificer, or not an armorer. There's so many R's.
There are a lot of R's in alchemist.
Alchemist, artificer. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, let's get to armor. I love this idea though, right? Of like taking something that you used to have innately and putting it in an object so that you could like try to get it back, just even like a fraction of it. So I'm excited to dig in.
It almost in a sense, magical rehab, right? Just anything to kind of fill what like you would always do,
right?
When you get knocked down, get up again. Why am I making that reference? That's so terrible. So you and I both like the armor quite a bit. My wife is actually playing an alchemist, and what I like about not yet, no. Sorry, I'm talking to my producer. So what's interesting, what I also like about the Artificer right now is that you can flavor it to be virtually anything. Right now, my wife's character Sophias is playing basically a very witchy character who just happens to be the alchemist. And you do all those creepy things, and you would think that would be a warlock, but that doesn't function.
Alchemist works so much better for that kind of boil and toil, standing over a cauldron kind of magic. I like it for similar reasons of just someone that knows about all of that background magic and like, oh, this plant mixed with this thing, when you do that, it creates this potion.
Oh yeah, I mean,
that's what I use it for.
The flavor of like, okay, I take the nose of a troll and I dip
Yes.
into this potion. You
Yeah.
can really like, even your cantrips and your spells, you know, being able to describe them as an alchemist can get real gooey and weird, and like basically the opposite of what we're about to do. So
yes, it's a different kind of artificer.
Let's see. So going to go ahead and go to my characters on D&D Beyond. So here we are on the front page with lovely articles by James Hake and videos by myself. And we're going to go my characters, and we're going to build a character from scratch. And I'm going to go ahead and crop this. There we go. So the armorer is interesting because it's almost the opposite of the alchemist in terms of artificers, because you're like all metal all the time, right?
Yeah. There's like some ways to reflavor it, and I know we chatted about it the first time. We kind of went over ways that we might look at it differently, but like just the idea of a magic suit of armor that's beyond, like, it gives you a plus to AC, you know, or something like that, but it's like magic in a physical form that you wrap yourself in.
Yeah,
that's what elevates the armor over the other artificers for me, and like this is why I just keep thinking about it.
Yeah, it's not, you know, it's not only Iron Man. Like you could flavor it as slime or whatever. You could do a lot of different things if you want to.
Oh,
but there's some flavor things that are said in that. Go hit standard for this. I'm not going to do randomize. So we're going to call this character Avren. That the name origins are actually rooted in Revenant, not Raven, but everyone often associates the character with Raven. Playtest content. You have a number of options when you're making a character for the first time. So I'm going to go ahead and choose a random image here of anyone who's wearing a helmet.
There we go.
There's a guy. I don't know if I like that helmet. There we go. We'll do this guy.
There we go.
So this is Avren the Artificer. And because we are doing Unearthed Arcana, we have a number of sources when you're on the, you know, when you're making a character. You can do homebrew content, critical role content, playtest, Magic the Gathering, Eberron, and Rick and Morty. So we've got Eberron clicked for good reason, and then Unearthed Arcana as well, which is playtest. I'm gonna assume Milestone because that's how a lot of people roll.
These are ones where I like because this is why I like having a character on D&D Beyond, because it's like it'll just calculate your encumbrance for you.
Oh yeah,
all kinds of things that like you used to not worry about that because it sort of takes care of it. You're like, oh, that's how much I'm carrying around.
Oh man, I am so excited for the dice roller when it does all the math for you.
That's awesome.
And then especially for those like big blasters, man.
Oh yeah.
Because fireball sounds really fun at first, and then you're like, oh, but I have to do this thing.
It's so many dice. It's fun.
Everyone move along. I have something else to do now.
Everybody can pitch in on that one. Everybody rolls 3d6.
So let's go to Grace, and I have played him very often as an elf, a half elf, because I honestly at first he was supposed to be a human, which was very integral to this character for me personally, because I liked the character without magic. I ended up going half elf just to get that +2 charisma, and I never feel good about that. This is why I'm not a huge fan of racial stats, because I feel like, okay, well now all the tieflings and all the half elves and
I feel similarly, especially with like a version of D&D that so emphasizes like the stat modifier. There's like so much hinges on it. It just is kind of like, well, I could play this character, but I'm only starting with like a 14 in my prime stat. There's times when that hurts and I don't do it. So I think you should go with human.
Oh, I'm going human.
Yeah, just for Prodigy.
Exactly. Prodigy is one of those things that is a fantastic feat, because if you really want to customize that character later, you can do something really cool with Prodigy. I'm not going to choose the feat yet, because this is where I am struggling. I think I'll create elvish, because I'm married to Sophia's, who is an elf.
So. Now, how long have you played Avren? Like, how many iterations?
Since I was 8.
Since you were 8, yeah. So this is like 8. A lifelong companion almost.
Which got funnier and funnier as time went by, because I started playing him like he knew when second edition rolled around. I started playing him at like he remembered first edition.
Oh, nice.
And that's where the gag started happening, is like, okay, this is the one dude who survived. But yeah, originally Avren was a ranger, and very much the character I would build as a little kid who just, I climbed trees, I trespassed, like I was always like running around with a spear in my hand, chasing dragons. I never killed any of them, but I was a feral child.
Yeah.
Fun times. Spoke. Yeah.
That should be a class, feral child.
Feral child. I would have been it, but like as I got older, that character became an assassin when I was 18 because super edgelord.
Certainly.
And back then, assassin prestige class had all this magic, so
why not?
So obviously, when we want to dip into intelligence here, I think because the armor. What do you think about this? What do you think the next stat? I kind of feel like Constitution, but could go a lot of ways because the armor can go a lot of ways.
Yeah, I would say like Constitution is not a bad second pick just because of low hit dice and what you're probably going to want to do.
Yeah.
But like, how are you going to need to rely on any of those others that you can't use something like that's what I'm thinking. Like, you can give yourself gauntlets of ogre power if you have a low strength, or like you know what I mean?
Yeah. So yeah, you really definitely don't need strength, because we know eventually the magical items we can choose. Well, I can just get a 20.
Now, do you still have to meet the strength requirements for the armor that you're going to wear?
You currently don't.
Okay. All right.
In this iteration, and it'd be I would be surprised in Unearthed Arcana if they changed that right now, right?
Yeah.
Because
that'd be the only thing of it.
This is the class that you want to play.
Yeah.
It is very not mad.
Sure. It's not like a ranger or a monk where you go like 3 good stats.
Which I know some people have complained about, but at the same time, I'm like, this is not a huge damage dealer. Like, this is not a paladin. They're probably the tankiest of tanks, next to maybe Moon Druid. So for now, I'm going to put Constitution.
Yeah, this is one of those. This is also one where I like to pick like an RP stat. Like, if I know I'm going to want to have a really personable character, maybe like charisma, or like someone that I don't want to have like get surprised a lot, maybe wisdom.
Yeah, that's true.
Those are some other things I usually think about when I'm like on the fence about.
Yeah, and we may come back to this, like if it's not working. So skill, I always Avren's Deception. I don't ever not roll. I don't ever not lie to NPCs.
Yeah.
So it's not optimal because my charisma is probably not going to end up being very high. So we got
the long run.
Yeah. So we got this extra feat. So we're going to go ahead and go to class. And I'm going to choose the Artificer. Add class. And it gives you a nice little overview of what the Artificer is before you choose it. Now, Jasmine, my Dungeon Master, is having a start at level 3.
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and do that. A lot of campaigns start out that way. And then we have, this is actually a really good class to be doing this because
there's so many options.
So complex. So I didn't mean to scroll through this so fast, but so over here you see hit points, 1d8, all this. It tells you everything you need to know. I can wear medium armor, use shields, light armor, simple weapons. This is going to change once I come down all the way down here. You see Artificer Specialist. This is where we're going to choose the armor, and it's going to be noted that it is from the UA.
Yeah.
So there we go. And now,
this is also one of those where I like scrolling back up is helpful because sometimes the options will change that you scrolled past.
Yeah. Don't forget to scroll up because you're going to be missing some stuff here.
Absolutely.
So now, even though this still says only light armor and medium armor, that's changed for you.
Yeah.
You've got a number of abilities. So,
yes. So what are your thoughts so far on where you're going to take Armor or Avren?
I think it's going to be doing a lot of the tanking.
Yeah.
I really like the Infiltrator model, but we're going to have a rogue. Lauren Urban's going to be playing a rogue, I believe. We've got another, because, I think a lot of people like this guy's self, including this character. So everyone's going to be very good at like sneaking in.
Right. Like it was disguised self over a big heavy suit of armor.
I was planning on playing cleric, but since the alchemist is very good at healing, in fact, probably one of the better healers out there. And then I will have cure wounds as well, and then someone else will have lay on hands and cure wounds. I think we'll probably be covered.
Oh yeah.
So what's interesting about the armor is you can actually choose from long rest to long rest whether you want to be the infiltrator, which is the one where your heavy armor is actually underneath your clothes, and no one can see it, which is really cool. Or you can be the big bulky guardian with like thunder gauntlets. So let's go ahead and do the tank version for this build and how we want to focus on this. Right tool for the right job. We know that. That's not something we have to choose. We've got a cool spell list here that you can always check out. We got magic missile, shield, mirror image, shatter, hypnotic pattern, lightning bolt, fire shield, greater invisibility, pest wall, wall of force, all cool stuff.
It is a strong spell list.
Strong spell list.
It really is. Oh my god.
Now this is where we get in the nitty gritty. So what kind of tool does this character use?
Right. So what kind are
and also what happens? Well, often what do you use often in D&D?
So I use alchemist, herbalist, and cartographer's tools a lot with my characters.
And why is that?
Like cartographer's tools lets me justify the maps I make in person as maps my character makes. So I can be like, yes, I do actually have a map of the dungeon. I've been sketching it as you describe it, things like that. And then alchemist supplies for like acid, alchemist fire, and similarly, because like all you need is an herbalist kit to create potions of healing.
Yeah.
That's usually why I try to pick up herbalism kit, but it's difficult. You got to get it from a background. Like I don't think there's any way to select it from artisan's tool.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So maybe I'll take alchemist supplies so I can help.
Yeah.
My wife brew stuff. Yeah, we'll do that for now. This is an intelligence character, but it's the primary stat. It doesn't mean that I'm just going to choose that kind of stuff, though. So this is a character who was very once part of magic. So I feel like Arcana is almost necessary.
Arcana fits, certainly. Like they know a lot, like he knows a lot about it, but what about your other one?
Investigation is not chosen enough, I think.
Oh, for real, though? Yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely think so.
I mean, if you roll an investigation check and you're looking around a room, that can make or break things, right?
Yeah, it certainly can. And like for fine detail work, I think a lot of that comes down to who your DM is and like how much they make a distinction between perception and investigation. But like at this stage, like if I were the DM, I'd be like, oh yeah, I never use investigation.
Right?
Switch it to perception or something.
Okay.
But yeah, I like investigation. I think I like what it says about the character as well versus perception.
Right. Like this is a character who had to literally investigate. Okay, well, I'm no longer a god, or not really. I mean, maybe in name alone.
Somewhere.
in my own head. We do have a lot of, and this is where things get tricky. We got a lot of infusion choices here.
Certainly do.
So
Armor of tools is fun.
Let's see. Well, we're playing someone who's wearing armor, right?
Yeah.
So enhanced defense for sure.
Certainly, especially at such a low level, getting that really nice.
Yeah, we gotta do that. Armor of tools is kind of interesting, possibly. Let's see. Let's go ahead. So you do see like UA. This armor of tools is Unearthed Arcana. This is like Eberron's guide. To the last war. I'm saying that wrong. Yeah, bunch of stuff. Yeah, famously called that. It's much easier.
Famously.
Let's what do you think for replicate magical items? What are some good stuff for a character?
So for one, you're human, so there's goggles of night.
Oh yeah, totally.
Right, which will let you.
All right, so
that's a fun one to get. Yeah,
humans don't have dark vision. Everyone.
It's like they're one of three. No, they're more than that now. But like 3 of the PHB that don't have. Dark vision. So yeah.
All right.
I take that one.
Let's go back to another one. We're going to our next infusion. Nope, that's not one. Replicate magical item. I don't need a returning weapon, because the thing about this character with being armor, your weapons are kind of in your armor. You're never gonna have to worry about weapons.
Yeah, certainly. I was gonna say, do you get extra attack as an armor? I can't remember.
You do.
Okay,
Later
so
on, you get that extra attack.
A repeating weapon or repeating shot might not be a bad choice, depending on what your ranged weapon is.
Well, you are doing the lightning.
Oh yeah. Okay.
If you're doing infiltrator, so
yeah, there's sort of like the rider that comes with that attack. I like that. But you're not really with the guardian. It's more of the up close and personal,
right?
Thunder gauntlets.
Yeah. I mean, then that's your kind of your sweet spot, is like trying to block everyone from getting around you and stuff. You're right though. Not a terrible idea to have some kind of thrown weapon.
Yeah.
Some of these things are just so Inspector Gadget.
Right. I love of all this, I love walloping ammunition.
Yeah, what does walloping ammunition do?
So it's for blowguns. Like I was
trying. Oh, weird.
Right. I would have figured it's like sling bullets or something, right? Like, David and Goliath killing giants with a sling or something. If they have they have to make a strength saved or avoid going prone, but it's just for blowgun.
Weird. So yeah, that's hard to put in the armor though. That'd be amazing to have a telescoping blowgun.
Yes. Look, is that a straw? No, it's my weapon of last resort.
That's pretty amazing.
Oh my god. There's a lot of cool stuff on here. A lot of really fun, like flavorful items that are sort of like of the common variety.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if if it's worth spending your pick on it, but I just like that it's an option, because you never know when you might want a staff of bird calls or a moon touch sword or something.
Yeah. So remind me about moon touch sword.
Ooh, I'm trying to remember that one. If I'm remembering it right, and I could be way misremembering it, has something to do with like attacking or threatening lycanthropes, but maybe I'm misremembering that and mixing it up with something else. Because a lot of these seem like they've been added in like the extra life, adventures or things like that. So they're like custom items for those, not necessarily in a book somewhere.
That's true.
Even my knowledge has limits.
I think it's a good character to have. I mean, sending stones are always
fun, always useful,
always invaluable. I am pretty tempted by Charlatan's Die. So if you are someone who was like the god of trickery, right?
You might just have that.
Man,
yeah.
Like, why don't you do it? Plus, this is very not optimal for your.
Oh, sure. This is an art. This is yeah. But at the same time,
Yeah, it's very much
so. Infusions.
Enhanced arcane focus. Does that work with the armor build? I'm not quite sure, actually. I can't
recall. I'm not sure that it does. I think there are some alchemists or not alchemists, but artificers that it'll be useful for, or like to give to your party caster.
Right. There's not a lot of concentration going on. Mind Sharpener can help with that, certainly. As a helmet will give you shock. I'm not 100% that we need that. Let's look at replicate magical items again and see if there's something cool that
there's always something cool there. Helm, dread helm. If you want
dread helm is pretty great. That has no effect at all of any value, but
I just love it.
I mean, why not automatically say that you have a dread helm?
Right.
But I do have a very creepy helmet, so
nice.
Let's just do dread helm.
I was gonna say that one. The only other one I would really pick is rope of climbing. Is kind of fun.
Yeah, rope of climbing is always like. And how do you RP that then?
Yeah, it could be like a grappling hook or something that comes from your armor.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, he's Boba Fetted this.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, you got me on this one. That's pretty cool.
There you go.
Okay. All right, let's use rope of climbing. Tools of the trade. Yep. So this is something that's important to remember. Like right now, you can see that we have tabs. There's home, race, class.
Mm-hmm.
We're on class right now. If you're a spellcaster, do not forget to go. You see this tab here below Artificer right now. It says class features. Don't ever forget to go to your spells.
You'll forget all the time.
You will forget all the time. Go over
spells?
here.
Oh, wait, yeah.
Some of these spells are already chosen for you because of what this character is, the subclass. So D&D Beyond will automatically fill those spells in. These are not counted against your other spells. This is all taken care of for you if you're on D&D Beyond. And so now we got to choose the fun stuff, and
Yes.
let's choose the stuff and think about narratively why it makes sense. All right. So what do you want to see in a D&D version of Iron Man, basically?
Ooh, I mean, so when I think of an Iron Man character, their versatility is one of the first things I think about. A tool for any situation.
Right.
And so I'm going to look at spells and spell selection with an eye towards getting the most bang for my buck, especially with a low, like, you know, you're not a wizard or something like that that's going to have just whatever spells you feel like that day that are in your spell book, like more limited selection. So, for instance, when it comes to acid splash versus firebolt, it's not just a matter of damage for me. It's like, what all does the spell do? Well, firebolt can set fires. You know, that's really useful, you know, and just the kind of things you can do, the kind of stuff you can plan is fun. I think my internet might have cut out though, because Todd is not moving.
I am here.
Okay.
I am here.
I'm good. All right.
I am checking chat.
Oh, no worries. No worries. I didn't
While
know
you
if it
were
was me or
dropping
my
knowledge.
Oh, no problem. So, so that's usually what I try to pick for. Guidance is a strong contender, just because it's sort of you know, if you can anticipate when you're going to need that extra D4, and so you can use up your concentration slot, giving it to someone or yourself, that can be fun.
That's interesting.
And then I look at, like, if I'm not the primary damage dealer, then maybe my damage dealing cantrip doesn't need to be the most optimal for damage. It can have a rider, right? It can have something that, like, Ray of Frost slows their movement, right? So that might be another reason why I pick something over the most optimal.
So being a tank. So really, are you feeling resistance and guidance possibly?
I could see that. Resistance is tough just because you got to know when you're about to make that save.
Yeah.
And usually saves are reactive.
Right. Whereas guidance is like, okay.
Yeah, guidance is like, I'm about to do something, do that. But like other things I could see is Mage Hand is super useful.
Mage Hand's always useful.
Yeah. I love Thorn Whip. It's one of my favorite cantrips because you can drag someone around with it. And I just, especially for a melee character, it can be like a real fun get over here kind of moment.
That's true. I mean, you are relying on your Thunder Gauntlets primarily, but I mean, this is basically effectively giving you, you know, a glaive, right? You know, only better.
Yeah, it like gives you that attack at range and then bring him within. And if you've got a DM that lets you do some creative things with your spells, then you have like something you can swing with, or, you know, you have like a metal whip that comes out that's also, you know, part of that rope of climbing you have or something like that.
Right. Now, the one thing I was kind of thinking about, because we may not have tons of healing, is what's the cantrip that helps with that?
There's Spare the Dying, which can be really handy if you do have a lot of people falling in combat.
They become stable. Spare the Dying. Ooh, yeah.
Mostly
and we only get 2 cantrips here, guys. So.
Yeah, I think in terms of healing, you're limited to your first level spell slots, really.
Yeah. But at least keeping your party alive.
Yeah.
I may go Spare the Dying for now.
Yeah.
Because you're in the thick of it, right?
Sure.
So you could be you're the tank and maybe a combat medic a little bit here.
Yeah.
Thorn Whip is a great call, by the way.
I really like it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and then you're really now that you mentioned, like, you know, rope of climbing.
Yeah.
Why not flavor both of these to be the same thing?
Yeah, it just makes sense. Especially when you're picking things that meet that like mechanical satisfaction with like the RP, like that. Those are the kinds of combinations I look for. And like the only other thing that I can think of off of that list is like Thunderclap, but maybe you get more cantrips later. You know, like you don't need everything right at the beginning.
Yeah, and that's the fun, right? Like I don't like a complete character, actually.
Yeah. So, why would you? You got, you know, you want to strive towards something.
Okay. So now we get to our first level spells. I got a real cool question here from chat. Question: as someone who likes to create chaotic characters, what feat do you think would be best for that? I have answers. We're definitely going to get there. So that's why I haven't chosen the feat for this character.
Yes.
There are interesting feats if you like chaos, or don't. I mean, luck is, I would
Luck's the
say,
one.
pretty overly powerful.
Yeah, it's a strong contender for just about any character.
Yeah, because you're manipulating things, and that is the one feat where I would always ask the DM, is it okay if I
Yes.
take this?
There's so
Because
many
it
people
is
don't. Yeah.
problematic. It's really tough.
Especially if you're an elf about to bust out your elven accuracy as
Oh
well.
God, yeah. Now you're getting pretty metagaming. Yeah. So that's a conversation you need to have.
Right. Yeah.
So again, like this, really think of this as Avren as like a disgraced. Think of Avren as Loki who just got put in jail and had all his magic taken away.
Yeah.
So what do you end up doing here? I think cure wounds, because you are now healing folks.
Yeah.
And everything went away when I did that. Did I not go level 3?
What do you mean?
Oh, what I could prepare.
Oh yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, so let me see.
It doesn't look like it.
I may need to do a refresh because prepared spells 19 known.
Oh yeah, you should have some more than that.
So sometimes you're gonna run into when you level up things, you should hit a refresh if something.
Oh yeah, especially if you jump around the tabs at the top, like if you go
like
from
I've been
class
jumping around like
to
crazy.
background and
right,
or description.
So we go back to spells here. Known spells. There we go.
And it does it as well if you're using any of the Ravnica backgrounds that add other spells to your list as well. Like you sometimes have to mess with it. Oh, there it goes. Well.
All right, so disguise self. This is an ex-trickster god.
Yeah,
for sure. Do I really only get one first level spell at 3rd?
No,
that can't be right.
Let me see, because I made a 3rd level artificer today as well. I'm gonna check mine real quick. But yeah, I definitely.
If I'm having a caching issue or something.
Definitely disguise self.
Spare the dying.
Oh. All right, let me see what I'd have. Yeah, I've got like 8 prepared spells on my 3rd level.
Yeah,
you should have 4 prepared.
Okay, I'll go and do a hard refresh. This has actually never happened to me. So
there we go. Listen, it's live TV.
Live television, everyone. Live television. So we'll go and go back to spells. We'll take a look at what is going on there. Can I learn any more? I just clicked something. Nope. So I must have done something to make things weird.
Yeah. You've broken it. It's it's just
I've broken the internet.
It's like you've made too many, Todd. You can't.
I finally caused everything to just shut down.
We ran out of characters.
Is not ready. So
we ran out of characters.
So I'm gonna go ahead and make sure maybe I could choose a random feat here, and we're gonna talk about why I'm doing this. I'm gonna go ahead and hit Sentinel.
Yeah.
So that's been taken care of. We're gonna go back to class and move them around a little bit.
Yeah, just
move them to 3rd. Yeah.
There you go.
And known spells. Sorry, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. And again,
do it again. Could it be that because you don't you need to assign your ability scores?
Typically, no, not that I've experienced, but let's go and move on and figure that out. So I'm gonna go ahead and point by. I feel like any kind of trickster god is the victim of their own arrogance, and so I'm just gonna say 8 wisdom.
Yeah, I like having at least one stat be an 8 or lower, just because I find it interesting to play.
So intelligence is your big stat that you want, right? As an artificer. So I'm going to go ahead and make him, nearly genius level in terms of that. He's not particularly frail. He's not in the 8, but he doesn't need strength. But I was like, okay, he's not, anemic.
Right. Yeah. Just average strength.
And sometimes I just kind of jump in here and I'm like, okay, where do I not want to suffer? Like, this is where I'm going to
Yes.
suffer is 8. I'm fine
Yeah.
with that. I don't want negative in charisma either. So
Sometimes I like having a really strong negative in charisma.
yeah,
Because I'm gonna
if
try
that's
to
the
play
character
them
you're
as
playing.
I'm gonna try to play them as a charismatic character. So it's just sometimes it's fun to watch them just eat it.
Here's something really I think everyone should remember when you're building your character is number one, your stats don't equal your personality necessarily.
Certainly.
And what you know about character isn't always the same as what you think. So Han Solo, you think of him as this charming gambler, smuggler, trickery dude. How many times does that guy fail?
How many times has that worked?
Has he ever been successful with anything? Like he did manage to smuggle them onto the Death Star on accident.
Yeah.
That's about it for him.
Yeah.
Like
he's just cool.
Really good pilot. But
yeah,
when it comes to charisma, he says the wrong thing at the wrong time all the time. He's not good at deception. He's terrible at lying. I would argue his inability to be charismatic made him charming to Princess Leia.
yeah. His bluntness, his brashness.
Yeah, his just goofiness. And so I think like persuasion, deception, all that stuff, that's actually quite low. And if you look at Loki for an example as another character, I mean, how many times has that guy been caught?
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's almost like if you have the magic to do it, why do you need to learn the skills?
Right.
I could just do that with magic. It's fine.
Yeah. I mean,
it doesn't track with like most character concepts, but I like it.
Yeah, we don't like. I mean, Kaiser Sose is someone who has like a really high charisma.
Absolutely. I would expect a mastermind rogue to lean hard into that kind of trope as well.
Those are the characters that I feel like have that. So I don't know that this is necessary even for a trickery god. I mean, a bad trickery god is equally hilarious.
Yeah. I love that point that you brought up though, that these stats, especially the back 3, intelligence, wisdom, and charisma, they don't have to dictate your personality at all. Like you still get to role play your character however you want.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that when the dice come up, this is what is going to happen. You can try to con as many people as you want. You just might not be as successful about it, as you pointed out. Like that's a really strong point to make. I think a lot of people, they're like, oh, I got to play a dumb guy because I've got a 6 intelligence. Like, not really. No,
they might play a very focused guy.
You play focused. They could just care about 1 or 2 things. Just there's a lot of different ways to play it.
And is a machine, not intelligent? Like you get like you can have this like alarming focus, or you are perhaps too internalized. You're so internalized that you are not. Right? Like you're not good at arcana checks or history or anything else because you are just in your head.
Yeah.
You're not, you can't investigate things. You are thinking about all this other stuff. You may be a genius with the intelligence of 6.
Yeah.
But
just utterly oblivious.
You are like almost disconnected is a good way to role play that.
I could definitely see that. Yeah.
Which could lead as a very great example. If you're that disconnected from your environment in terms of intelligence, then that explains why you're failing your saving throws when certain spells are being used on it. You don't have a very good sense of reality. So it could work quite well, I think.
I think so too. Yeah. It's all how you flavor it, which is like, that's the same for any of these options, any of the race options or the class options. Like just being able to reconceptualize it is really handy.
So
what are you gonna put the rest of your stats?
I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, if you're going to be in melee, you got to put some points in Constitution.
Yeah, you really do. Because we're going to get strength later. And the thing is, our intelligence bonus is what actually goes to both of our weapon attacks that you get as the armorer. This is why they're not super mad or like rangers in that sense.
You're going with heavy armor, so you don't really need dexterity.
No, and you don't need it. You don't have a strength requirement either. That does give us 3 points to shove somewhere. I mean, I'm just going all the way into Constitution.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
So now I feel, again, even though what we said about charisma, maybe this person should have a 13.
I can see it just a 13. It's slightly above average.
Right.
It represents a connection to their past, and like +1 is going to be a handy little bonus. But if you don't put proficiency in it, it's only a +1.
Yeah, it's just a +1,
Yeah.
and maybe this is even like a confidence that has been lost, right? For a character who has lost magic, maybe it did hurt their charisma. And now
certainly, that explains why they don't have that the kind of charisma based magic that they had before.
Yeah, that was part of the damage that was done.
I love this character that you've had since you were 8, by the way. That's really awesome. That's super. I can't even remember what characters I first played.
The very first character technically was a cleric because you had to survive, but clerics are not typically my thing unless they're philosophy clerics. Yeah. So we got that down.
It's good.
Let's go check out background. This is where I love backgrounds. I really do. This is one thing. It can be overwhelming, especially if you are on D&D Beyond and you've clicked on like all of the sources. Yeah. You've got entertainer. You've got entertainer in Baldur's Gate. You've got faceless, faction agent. You've got all of these things. I do remind players, like, talk to your DM about some of the stuff, because some things are very specific. So you got like the Azorius functionary and Boris legionnaire. These types of things are very realm specific. Right. Doesn't mean I think all DMs should allow you to choose what you want because you just want your proficiencies that you want.
Sure.
I'd be totally down if they removed this kind of stuff. I think it's helpful for those who do have those books and are playing in that world to know that, like, listen, if you're part of this particular clan, you would have this thing.
Yeah. Like, especially we are talking about like the Ravnica backgrounds there. Like, I sometimes use them when I'm making an NPC. Like I'll pick a clan or a group, a guild that they're that would fit them, just so that they have some of that extra spell oomph. But this is a little overwhelming for a new player, and like the backgrounds can say so much about the campaign and like the kind of world you're playing in and what the DM wants to do with that world, that like you might want to just check with them first. And if it's all about the proficiencies, just make a custom one and talk to your DM and have them create like something that's custom for that campaign that can still give you the proficiencies you want.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm almost 100% sure it's just I didn't choose my intelligence. That's what limited my spell selection. There was a question in chat about being devious. So actor is fantastic. So if you are using disguise self and you want your disguise self to be unavoidable,
yes, yeah,
I would choose the actor feat, because that's going to give you advantage on, I believe, deception and performance checks when trying to be when trying to pass yourself as somebody else.
Yeah, lets you like mimic their voice.
Oh, that's a feat. Yeah,
so that's the feat. Yeah,
but charlatan gives you some
persona.
Yeah, you have another persona that you can hide around.
I really like that one, and like that's one of those where I like really going up to the DM and being like, I want to really flesh this persona out, like,
oh yeah,
and like, how can I make a new one for myself if I need to, and things like that.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Yeah,
there's a lot you can do here. I tend towards I don't know why I make a lot of urban bounty hunters.
Yeah,
like a lot. So I don't know that this character would use this much because they have become so notorious. Is there a notorious?
What about haunted one?
Ooh, interesting. I don't know that this character wants people to feel bad for them, but let's take a look at what haunted one provides. Because haunted one is kind of complex. You're haunted by something so terrible you dare not speak of it. You try to bury it, run away from it to no avail. Whatever the thing that haunts you. Can't be slain. Oof. That's terrifying. Or banished with a spell. It might come to you as a shadow or blood-curdling nightmare, scream or nightmare, demonic whisper in the darkness. The burden takes its toll, isolating you.
I use this for a paladin that had he was a bodyguard to like the Pope or something, like the high priest. And the high priest was assassinated on his watch, and he was the only one to survive. And so it really fit with that, like, survivor's guilt from that, the fact that he failed in his sacred duty. in that moment, and that's why he was going to Barovia.
and people, because of this, because people sense this kind of brokenness about you, they will fight alongside you more often. I don't think that's this character. I think if anything, people are excited that they have fallen off their lofty perch. So let's see, do we have anything else?
Not sure.
Um
There's no like I can
there
think
is
of,
no notorious, is there? Like
there's not like a notorious
like say probably, like captain has that.
Yeah.
Criminal spy is probably the most sneaky background.
Yeah, I really liked criminal spy, especially spy, just because I like being the the queen's right hand man kind of thing.
Well, we're thinking it takes long to build one character, everyone.
It does. Yeah, it does. It takes a while, especially if you're really like you could make a character in no time if you pick the standard choices. But if you're going through to be like, what is I'm going to be playing this character for forever. Yeah, I don't want to pick something that's just like the same as the thing I picked last time. So like, especially if you build a lot of characters, you can get involved, but it's like that's how you get a satisfying character.
Right. So. That makes sense. Yeah, this is hard. Criminal spy, what do we get here? We get stealth, which I definitely want. And I think sleight of hand. Because if I got that charlatan's die, I'm going to be...
Yeah.
And no, these are two things that have nothing to do with intelligence.
Sure. Yeah.
So
that's very true.
Gaming set, I would say dice set.
Got some dice.
Got some dice.
Dualism kit.
What? Yeah.
I was gonna say, there it is.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's one of my options?
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I don't want to steal the thunder from my wife's character, so I think this guy probably knows how to fly an airship.
There you go.
Got criminal got friends in low places. That's going to come in handy later. Real quick, let's do some quick and dirty stuff. At third level, when you're an armorer, you basically can turn any piece of heavy armor into a power suit. So I think the lowest cost one is chainmail, right? So let's go ahead and take a look at that. So we'll just add chainmail. I don't know that I would be able to afford it this early, but it doesn't feel wrong.
Certainly not plate mail by third level. It takes a while to save up for that.
Yeah. So we'll add that.
There's not splint.
Oh yeah, there is splint. Yeah.
I don't know how much. I think that's probably more expensive than chainmail.
Okay, let me just see if there are any more questions in chat. Yeah. Okay, so we got that, and that's almost like the only thing that we really need to add. Let's go back to class, and we'll check our spells and see if this rectified things. We got ritual spell. Wait, how did I get that? Yeah, so we have not prepared all our spells now. So we need that intelligence thing fixed, and that is on me, and that's embarrassing. But that's what's going to happen. If you're wondering why something isn't happening, move forward and then move back.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and what's important for Iron Man here? Iron Man, Loki, Avren to have. Obviously, shield's great. Snare, I'm a little tempted by because of all the weird rope stuff that's happening right now.
Exactly right. It's on point. You do have purify food and drink checked.
I do.
As one of your prepared ones.
Oh, I do. Okay, yeah, that's when we're messing around. Okay.
So I like.
Well, I think this guy's self. That's the first thing that they would go for, right?
Yeah.
You would want to okay, I'm making a hologram.
Right.
I want some of my old trickery crap back.
I like Expeditious Retreat because there's not a lot of concentration spells at first level to take. Like Fairy Fire and is also another good one. But like Expeditious Retreat for a meleeer who doesn't already have or who can spare their bonus action for that round.
Right.
It's pretty fun.
That is good, and that does allow you to move around the battlefield quite a bit. So what else does that allow you to do? Let me see. It's not something I typically cast. The spell allows you to move at an incredible pace. When you cast a spell as a bonus action each of your turns, the spell ends. You can take the dash action.
Yeah, it sort of unlocks that rogue
Yeah.
Cutting action feature. I just like it. I like it for Eldritch Knights. I like it for, any class that has access to it. Rangers, if I can get it, just because it's like I will get into melee faster. Yeah.
Yeah,
And I'll use
that
my bonus.
that increases your speed as well. So you can basically you run up and you can just hit. Basically,
Yeah,
you're not
yeah.
wasting an action by doing that.
Yeah, your first one out of the gate can be like a
That
double
does make a
buff.
lot of sense. What about Sanctuary? If you're being a tank here, because what my favorite spells is honestly Warding Bond, and the
Oh, yeah.
armor does not get it, which makes me
Oof.
very sad.
That's second level, right?
Yeah, but
You
the
can't
armor
run.
won't get it
Yeah.
either way.
No.
That's I believe the Battlesmith gets it because they have
Yeah.
a pet.
Right.
So you can ward a creature and give them. Let's see, what do you basically give them?
Someone has to make a save in order to target them or even attack them.
Yeah,
Someone kind of ignore them.
That's kind of powerful. That's like that kind of reminds me of that that version you get as a undying warlock, but with all undead.
Yeah. So it's kind of like you throw that on the healer.
Yeah.
As long as they don't attack, like they don't do anything offensive or anything, then they
can
just
does it go away if they attack?
That's if the warded creature makes an attack, casts a spell that affects an enemy or deals damage, spell ends. But if you're healing,
less functional.
Yeah.
Okay, so we want cure wounds for sure.
Yep.
So let's make sure that's clicked. Mage Hand is very cool, but we didn't choose it. So spare the dying. Those two are good. Disguise self. So we're gonna choose cure wounds. Catapult's a little weird. Fairy Fire, I think, is you really being a team player.
Yeah. And that could easily be like, there's a lot of different ways you can flavor Fairy Fire.
Yeah, for sure. And that is Fairy Fire is amazing for first level.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's one of those that you sort of use, especially its ability to outline invisible objects and creatures is one of those that makes it stand out even past the first tier.
Yeah. False Life doesn't really make sense because, you're already.
Yeah. Grease can be fun because it doesn't have concentration.
Right. I feel like that's more the Alchemist.
Certainly.
Yeah. Though it is funny just like hosing down an area with grease.
What about detect magic for someone who has like a connection with magic?
You're right.
But like,
yeah, you do. You're running scans, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do detect magic then.
I think these are your prepared spells. It's just like what you have for that day.
I think this is important because you're playing this very tanky character that you have utility in your group, and you already got magic missile. You're not going to be at that. You already have all this other stuff. I mean, Featherfall maybe, but I don't know how often that's going to come up.
Yeah, sure. Especially compared to the other things that you can do for your party.
Yeah. I think it's a solid spell list. Actually, I'm pretty happy now. Do you feel like this character can role play outside of being a tank? Because that's something that's hard in D&D.
Yeah.
If you decide to be the arcane archer, you gotta have a personality.
You do. And I think that comes from like a combination of background and just like how you interact and what you accept as your role. And that's like sort of fuzzy, but like if you are used to playing a kind of one-dimensional character because they're just the fighter, the healer, the whatever, then like don't do that anymore. Like I know there's other things you can do, but step one is like saying, no, I don't care that I just swing a sword and don't do anything else. Like I've got it. I'm going to contribute to this part. I'm going to take the lead here. Even if you don't necessarily have the stats to back it up, it can be refreshing to have people step up and be like, I think this is the plan we should follow. Or I think, these are the people we should talk to, that kind of thing.
No, so, I am. What do we think about absorb elements? Did we make a mistake in not getting this? Because there's that famous moment where like Thor charges lightning at Iron Man, and he can like blast back.
If you're wanting that, then I would take absorb elements. But what I love about the Artificer is like you can change your loadout for whatever you think.
That's true.
You're gonna go. It's not like
this is just preparing. This is like preparing only.
Yeah. So it's like if you knew you were going to go into combat, then you might switch up disguise self for something else.
That's true.
And move it from that to absorb elements or something. Or catapult for the range.
Yeah, that's true. Well, we got a little bit of that with Thorn. So we've chosen Fairy Fire is pretty great. Let's face it.
Magic Missile is a strong spell. Like, it's one of the no hit roll. It does force damage. It's just have to worry about it. That's what I pick it for. Is when I'm like I'm in combat and I just don't want to have to worry.
Yeah.
Can I see you? I'm going to shoot you with my death spell.
Right. Yeah. And absorb elements there has to be an element.
Yeah.
So that can be difficult. So I think we got that kind of nailed.
Yeah.
So we're definitely going to run over time a little bit, but we're going to go ahead and let's go. What's next? We chose everything else, so I feel like this is a pretty strong armor so far.
Yeah.
Looking at the character sheet, we got some pretty great stats here. We got a decent armor class. We could have chosen a shield, if we wanted to, but we got Thunder Gauntlets. And what's great about Thunder Gauntlets, I'm doing 1d8 plus 3. Anyone I hit with those then gets disadvantage to attack anyone else. And this is why this is such a tanky build, because this is almost like that bard ability, right? Or what's the ability?
It's not the not Sentinel. Sentinel's where you get to make the reaction attack against
It's a paladin. It's a paladin spell, actually. I believe it's compelled duel. So
thank you.
When you hit someone with your Thunder Gauntlets, you strike them. They now have disadvantage to attack anyone else but you.
That's really cool.
That's really huge. You are really tanking in the extreme. And this character in particular will be doing that. I didn't choose anything that gave me temporary hit points in the cantrips or spells because I have a defensive field, which means I can gain 3 temporary hit points as a bonus action every turn. Yeah. They don't stack, so there's no reason to be taking any kind of spells that kind of improve that.
You did pick Sentinel as your first feat.
I did, and which I feel like is pretty strong actually. If you're a sneaky kind of person and you're used to getting I think that works. I think it's great if you're tanking.
It works for tank. It works for like the sneaky kind of opportunist who, just looks for any opening they can.
Right.
I think it works for both of those.
And they're hyper aware, and you're getting an extra attack, so it makes it really hard for someone to get around you now, right?
Yeah, very much so.
And later on, you don't have it now, but the armor amazingly gets mirror image. Mirror image, if someone strikes that mirror image of yours, that you are technically not that target. Someone attacks anything else other than you, you can use your reaction to attack them. So you imagine being surrounded by 3 versions of your illusionary versions of yourself. They have to roll a die to determine if they even hit the real you. If they don't, that provokes the Sentinel attack feat, which means you can strike them, which means if you hit them, then they have disadvantage to hit anybody else.
Yes.
Now, don't think this isn't going to be like an endless loop where if they choose the wrong target that isn't you, they have disadvantage to even attack that. I mean, I'll ask Jeremy Crawford, but I think that's too far down the rabbit hole in terms of
Sure.
But do they have disadvantage at attacking illusions they don't even know aren't you?
That's a good catch, because normally you don't pick you don't take feat with a class that can take mirror image.
Yeah.
So it's like, how many times does that really come up? But I was just looking at it right there. It's a target. Doesn't say object, doesn't say creature. It says target. Yeah.
So they are technically hitting a different target. Oh, it's real juicy, isn't it?
I like that. I really
like it. I think that's a good Jeremy Crawford question. I think I'll do that right after the show. How do you feel about overall this build? Here's another thing. I'm going to move my screen so I can see. I know we got to get out of here pretty soon. If you're playing an artificer, artificers have a lot going on. You have attunements. You have infusions. So right here, we chose enhanced defense. So we want to manage that. So we want to choose something that we have on us, and we get this list of things that we can infuse with our magic chainmail.
Nice.
Choose it, create that infusion, and then boom, you actually have it. Now, before I was very silly and didn't know that even existed. So you go down to your equipment, you look down at your attunements, your infusions, and this is how you start building this stuff. So we got Goggles of Night. You made that choice. I create that infusion. It can look like anything I want, and now I own it, and it's in my game.
Yeah.
Google. You don't have to go to the equipment section to do it.
It's right there.
Charlatans die. This is just us creating it. I really love this. This is going to be a lot of trouble.
Yeah, someone's gonna regret that later.
Yeah, the tank who starts fights, right? From trying to be still sneaky and And obviously we don't need to buy rope to turn into magic. And then rope of climbing, I think that's genius, and that really adds to this character. So now
it's a fun thing, just that,
yeah. Googles of night. Goggles of night is like, you gotta have it. You're getting that your screen, you can see everything. Charlatan's Die is super fun. I love rope of climbing now with Thorn Whip. That's really smart.
Fun times.
And remember, on D&D Beyond, you can choose, even animated, which I'm not going to show here, but you can choose like different kinds of, you can choose different kind of frames, which is really fun. I can put them in a golden circle. I can put little, eyeballs here.
The animated fishbowl.
You can have the fishbowl. We can have little arcane symbols. And there's gears and cogs because I'm an artificer. And then what else? We can do a ton. We can choose the backdrop. Oh, look, it's Mordenkainen, my least favorite wizard. Let's Shade. Yep. You're so hurt.
I am.
But yeah, look, we got a little bit of sleight of hand. We got a little bit.
It's tough to compete with Raceland.
It is tough. Raceland's the best. I'm sorry, it's not gonna get better than that. So now in our equipment we see our infusions, our charlatan die. Make sure those are all equipped. We got 17 armor class now because it's enhanced, which is like, how would you not do that? The other feat I want to ask you about: do you think Sentinel is cooler than Armorer? The heavy armor feat.
Oh, the heavy armor feat. Ooh.
Yeah. Is that a mistake? Because is Sentinel really going to go off that much? And by the time you hit 4th level, which is when you're going to be able to get mirror image, you're going to get another feat.
Yeah. If you wanted to pick, if those were the 2 feats that defined you, like picking it up at 4th would be good. But like heavy armor master gets, like, the earlier you can take it, the more use you're going to get out of it.
Yeah.
So like if you take it at 1st level, that's like every time someone attacks you with a weapon.
Yeah.
Like you're taking that off, and you've only got 27 hit points. So like
heavy armor master. So your strength does go up by 1. And while you're wearing this, any bludgeoning, piercing, or slashing damage that you take from non-magical weapons is reduced by 3.
Yep.
Not a huge deal later.
Not so much later, but like in the first 2 tiers, you're going to get a lot of use out of this.
Yeah.
And even later on, like, do you not want to ever have to worry about piddling little CR 1/2 minions that are with the big bad that are there to eat up your action economy and try to make use of bounded accuracy? Then take 3 damage off all their attacks.
Yeah. So if you really want to be like, okay, I'm just tough as nails. I think for this character, I'm okay with Ulrich the crap being out of me a little bit. So I may still stick with Sentinel. I think it's kind of a fun, tricksy kind of thing. And
I think the real question here is which one of the 2 feats are you going to have the most fun with? And
always Sentinel. Anytime someone misses me and I can do something to them is hilarious.
see, to me, I always forget those things when I'm a player. I always forget. I forget to reckless attack. I forget I have power attack. I forget I have this. So like static bonuses that just get a plus something are usually what I go for as a player, because I'm like, I'm not going to forget that.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for having me having me on the show, for being on the show. Thank you, Todd. Next, if you're back next week, we have to do one of your characters.
Oh yes.
I hope this was helpful for anyone at home who likes to build characters on D&D Beyond or are intimidated in any way at all. I do it all the time, and look, I even made a mistake. I forgot that I needed to add my intelligence so I could choose my spells in the first place, because that determines how many you can prepare. Yes. That comes from having 8 billion characters I've already made and just going into one of them and changing their class over and over again. So like often my stats have already been filled out.
Right.
But D&D Beyond really is, I am obsessed with it. I know I work there. It's not my job to say I'm obsessed with it. I just love making characters all day long.
Like I said, I cannot imagine playing 5th edition without it.
No, I really can't.
I just cannot.
I can't imagine playing any edition without it now, actually.
Oh, sure. Like when I remember how I used to make characters before it, I was like, oh, there's like 3 pieces of paper here.
Oh, man.
4. Yeah.
And you would just try to write everything perfectly, and then all the math you were trying to get right. D&D
just
Beyond
transfer to your character sheet.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. So this is
Yeah, that's
lovely. I think this is a fun, solid character we can do a lot with.
Especially in a team. There's a lot. I mean, like as a solo character who can defeat anything, no. But there's only like one character that can do it. But as
Yeah.
part of a team, like, yeah, this is a solid like melee anchor
Right.
that another meleeer can like pair up in combat with and wreck some shop, you know?
Yeah.
That'd be
And
fun.
if you want to, you can always switch your armor to the infiltrator mode and go ranged and be a
Yeah.
little stealthier. So
And completely switch all your spells out.
yeah. And switch all
Yeah.
your spells out. So don't feel like you're locked into being the tank. You can be sneaky mode. You can be stealth mode. So
Yeah.
all right.
Times.
Jim Davis, thank you so much. Check out WebDM. They have wonderful tutorial videos. I watch them probably once a day because that's the kind of person I am. They've got a wonderful Patreon. What else do you have going on?
Oh man, well, you should keep an ear to the ground. We've got a big announcement coming up, if not this month and certainly early May. Mostly, I don't want to say anything more. You know how it is, Todd.
Yeah, I know.
The iron's in the fire. You can't really talk about. But if you're, keep your ear to the ground. We got a big announcement coming up within the next month.
Fantastic.
So yeah.
All right, I'll do that. Silver and Steel, it's being DM'd by Jasmine, that bronze girl on Twitter. I'm very, very excited about this. I'm getting to play with Megan Kenreck and Lauren Urban and B. Dave Walters. And this character that we just built will be in that show. And we're getting character art made for this character right now. So that'll be really exciting. That's 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. every Tuesday on D&D Beyond's Twitch channel. Thank you so much for watching.